Yo, Smelly Randy here. Today is Thursday, April 2nd. No backgammon updates today. Carrie got called into work, so unfortunately we weren't able to get our games in during lunch. I am rocking my first logo outdoor detour apparel. Shout out to my lovely mother for gifting this to me, and also to my aunt and uncle and cousins who run an embroidery shop out of Hudson, New Hampshire. So yeah, shout out to everyone at Red Brick Clothing. If you need any apparel, promotional items, anything like that with your logo or any design on it, check them out, redbrickclothing.com. Yeah, I got this shirt and a flannel and a beanie. So yeah, that was all really cool and just sporting it for the first time. So yeah, not bad. What else? Let's see. Well, no updates on coronavirus. We're still locked up, so I'm going to keep on with the daily videos. Today, we're going to highlight Arches National Park in Moab, Utah. Let's go! Alright, I was going to do Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks today. That seems to be the only national park in California I actually have the map for, but because I haven't spent much time there, I wanted to do a little bit of research on it before we do that tomorrow. So, Arches, right on their cover here, that is Landscape Arch, that pencil thin arch right there. That thing looks like it could come down any day. Every time I see it, I feel pretty confident that it's just going to crumble in front of me. But anyway, yeah, Arches is in Moab, Utah, which is about a 6-hour drive from Denver into the park. Five or 6 hours. I'd say 6 once you get actually into the park. Let me get the tape. We'll tape this up and we'll get a feel for the layout of the park. I typically will make 1 to 2 trips to Moab every year. It's just so close and so much to see in Utah, in southern Utah, so I'll get that up there. Hopefully the lighting is alright. I noticed a glare on some of the previous videos. See if we can get in here. I have to bring this closer. Oh boy, bear with me. Focus on that. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so once again, the dark lines are the main roads. Here's Moab down here, downtown Moab. And then there's basically one main entrance into the park, which is right down here. And it's basically one main road through the entire park. And then, yeah, dead ends up at Devil's Garden. And then 2 main roads off of that road. So this road right here goes to Delicate Arch, which is probably the most famous arch in the park and the most traveled spot in the park. The other road right here goes off to Double Arch, as well as Turret Arch and North and South Windows. Probably the second most traveled part of the park. So yeah, we basically only have one road to work with. I think, let me hop in frame here real quick. All right, let me zoom out a little bit. So I think the last time I went to Arches, or no, actually it was the time before that, we were in the middle of a long road trip and we were doing Arches in one day. And yeah, we started right at sunrise, and then by like 11:30 a.m. we were in Moab Brewery having a beer and lunch. So, and I felt like I had seen most of what there is to see, at least like the major tourist attractions, I would say, in the park. So this should be pretty easy. And then you should still actually have time to maybe do some things outside of the park as well. So there's really, I would say, one main hike that I would do while you're in Arches. Let me zoom in, and that is a Delicate Arch. As I said, the most popular arch in the park, the one that pretty much everyone is almost certainly familiar with. Because of that, I would do it early, and I would do it for sunrise. That's exactly what we did. We decided, hey, we want to do one hike in the park, and if that's the case, then let's make it Delicate Arch. We'll get there for sunrise, and then we can explore the rest of the park. So let's say 6 a.m. sunrise again. We're going to plan on being at the trailhead right here and start hiking by, let's say, maybe 4:45, 5 a.m. at the latest. This is a 3-mile round trip hike, so you're only looking at 1.5 miles each way. So, yeah, if you start hiking at 5 a.m., you can be at Delicate Arch in an hour pretty easily. I know I've done that hike in like, I think 45 minutes flat up to the arch. So yeah, in the mornings, get into the park, go to Delicate Arch trailhead right here, hike to the arch for sunrise at 6, be up there maybe till 7, hike back by 7:30, let's say. I would also check out the upper Delicate Arch viewpoint and the lower arch one. The lower arch one's right outside of the parking lot, and it's just a little bit of a hike to get to the upper Delicate Arch viewpoint. It's just a different perspective of the arch from afar, and actually we did that the last time we were there last April, and I actually really liked seeing it from that view. So definitely check that out. After that, I would just work your way toward the end of the road, toward Devil's Garden up here. There's going to be almost all of the significant features in the park are accessible by car and don't require really much of a hike at all. So you're going to make, I would stop at, sure, Salt Valley Overlook, sure, why not? Fiery Furnace is really cool, so definitely stop there. I think you can hike down into Fiery Furnace, but it might actually only be guided tours by a ranger only. I don't remember. So yeah, I would say don't plan on hiking anything in Fiery Furnace. Continue on. At this point, I would go all the way to the end, to Devil's Garden, and get out and hike there. This is going to be another shorter hike, but a lot less strenuous than Delicate Arch. So this is probably the only other hike I would do in the park if I only had one day. So park at Devil's Garden here, and we're gonna We're gonna hike to Landscape Arch, which is that one that's on the cover of the brochure that I showed you. That I think is only like 1.8 miles up to Landscape Arch, right there. And then after that, and so that's where the Landscape Arch viewpoint is, and then you'll actually see up in the hills above it 1 or 2 other arches. Those are Navajo Arch and Partition Arch. After you're at that viewpoint, I would recommend continuing on the trail about a mile, just because the terrain is really cool. You can continue all the way to the end and go to Double O Arch, but I don't think that's necessarily worth it. You will have time to do that, so by all means, if you want to keep going to Double O Arch, go for it. But I would say you can skip that one. I would just go about a mile past Landscape Arch, and the terrain changes pretty significantly, and it's really great views up there. So yeah, I think maybe 1.8 to Landscape Arch, then another mile, and then hike back to the car here at Devil's Garden. You could probably do all that and be done by like, let's just say 10 a.m., maybe 11. And then I would just work your way back toward the entrance after that. There is Skyline Arch. That's a real short hike. You could check that one out. Sand Dune Arch is kind of cool. That's a super short hike. I would definitely do that. Then work your way back. You can go past Fiery Furnace again. Past that road. You could stop at Panorama Point. Take some photos there. And then I would turn and take the other main road in the park toward Double Arch and Turret Arch. Double Arch is basically viewable from, you're going to drive past it on the road here, and it's just a short walk from the parking area to Double Arch. Spend some time there and then do the slightly longer walk to North and South Windows, which are also viewable from the parking area, and it's just slightly longer of a walk than the one to Double Arch, but they're both visible from the parking area. I actually haven't gone to North and South Windows. I don't know why I haven't made the walk over there yet, but I would highly recommend that. That could be another great spot for sunrise as well, if you don't want to hike to Delicate Arch for sunrise. So yeah, do all of those real quick. You could stop at Garden of Eden. There's Pothole Arch. And then once you make it back to the main road here, you're going to see Balanced Rock, and you're going to see that on your drive-in too. It's right off of the road. But at this point, you could stop and go do a short walk around Balanced Rock. After that, head back down. You can stop at the Petrified Dunes viewpoint. I would also continue on and make sure you stop at the I think maybe Courthouse Towers viewpoint. Oh, all right, there it is. All right, so yeah, that's another quick stop you can make. And then once you get toward the entrance again, you're going to see LaSalle Mountains viewpoint, and then Park Avenue viewpoint. Park Avenue is really cool. Towering rocks on both sides, and then kind of a canyon in the middle with a hiking trail that goes all the way through to the other end. So you can actually kind of see here, there's a trail from Park Avenue viewpoint back to Courthouse Towers viewpoint. If you had two vehicles, I would park one at one spot and then park at the other one and hike back to the other car. I've gone down in there a little bit, but I've never hiked completely through. But after that, that's pretty much it. There are some longer hikes you can do in here. We got Eye of the Whale Arch, Tower Arch, and Marching Men way up here. But those are all longer hikes. Doing everything that I just rattled off, you can honestly be done by like 1 or 2 p.m. And then go back into town and hang out. One thing you should absolutely do if you're in Arches is drive this highway. After you exit the park down here, drive Highway 128 here. And you can't miss it. It's right where the river crosses the road, the main road. And take Highway 128. And it's just a lot of zigzagging through these, through an incredible canyon where the river, that's the Colorado River there. And you're just going to have giant red rock canyon walls on both sides of you. Just an amazing drive, and that's where actually all of the vast majority of the campgrounds are on this road here, which is Highway 128. I know I've stayed in Big Bend Campground, and I think also Goose Island is where we stayed at, the closest one. It's all first come, first served campgrounds, so it can be a real pain to get a campsite in any of those, just because it's a highly populated area. But if you continue on 128, like another 15-20 minutes, you can find some campgrounds that are more likely to have availability way out further by Fisher Towers. After that, yeah, I would go hang out in Moab, go to Moab Brewery, get some beers. There is another part of Moab somewhere down here, or maybe it actually might be 7 Mile Canyon here off. That's further up. No, that's not right. Somewhere in town, there's a road that continues west, and it goes to another amazing part of Moab that I had never seen before until our last trip there. And there's a lot more campgrounds down there as well, and it's just more amazing, unique scenery than you would find in the park or even on this highway. It's similar to this highway, but different. I would say it's more open and more green on whatever the other road is. I don't remember what it's called, but those are like the two main places to camp around Moab if you're looking to camp. There are some campgrounds in the park as well, but they're by reservation only and pretty hard to get. I know a Devil's Garden has a campground. I've always wanted to stay in there, but never gotten a campsite. So yeah, that's what I would do in Moab. If you hold on. Cool thing about Arches is it's basically right next to Canyonlands National Park as well, which I think it's either this road or one further up. It's either 7 Mile Canyon or another road to the left further north that heads to Canyonlands. So you can, after you're done in Arches, if you feel like you've seen pretty much all of the stuff I outlined just now in Arches, you could immediately get in the car and drive into Canyonlands and be there in about 45 minutes to an hour. Probably only like 45 minutes. And there you could drive all the way to the end. That's basically one main road through the park that ends at I think it's Grand View Point or something like that, Grand View Overlook. And then there's like one main road that goes off to some other trails. But you could hike to Mesa Arch. That's a really short hike, and probably an arch that you've seen photos of before. That's the one that's a madhouse at sunrise every single morning. That's one reason that Delicate Arch is a good place to go to instead of Mesa Arch, because it's a small window and it's just lined with tripods of photographers. Not a very enjoyable place to be for sunrise because everyone's just kind of fighting over tripod space. It's a madhouse. Delicate Arch is nice and wide open, and you can set up wherever you want. So yeah. What else is over there? Aside from Canyonlands, there's also a state park. God, I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. But there's a state park off of that same road that Canyonlands is on that you could also check out, but that requires another $20 or whatever the admission is because your National Parks Pass won't work in that park. So yeah, that's Arches in a nutshell. That was actually, that's very easy. You can knock out a lot in one day in Arches and feel like you saw the entire park. All the hikes are relatively short. Just the hikes on this list here, the longest one is 7.2 miles, and that's round trip. And that's the entire Devil's Garden Trail. So yeah, that is Arches in one day. That's what I would do if I had one day in Arches, and I've done pretty much all of that in one day in the past. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll put links to all of the hikes that I mentioned down in the description below the video. Another thing you need to know is really no airports that are that close to Moab that I'm aware of. And again, Denver is like a 6-hour drive, and Salt Lake, if you do plan to fly into Salt Lake, let's see, Salt Lake to Arches, 235 miles, 3 hours and 37 minutes. So Yeah, that's significantly closer to Arches than Denver is. So that would be probably your best airport. Southern Utah just has, I think, what is it, 5 national parks, and they're all incredible. So you can knock out 2 in one shot right here in Moab with Canyonlands and Arches, and then all the rest are pretty far from there. So yeah, that's all I got. If you have any questions, let me know. Tomorrow is Friday, and we'll be doing Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park, unless I change my mind before then. So that's it. Have a good Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.